And the Hangout on Air is live. Good morning. Welcome to the QuickBooks Connect recap show at schoolofbookkeeping.com's ABO session, weekly open session.
Good morning.
I'm wearing my Seth David shirt. Eric is rebooting. He'll be right back in here with his not Seth David shirt. And we're going to talk about what happened this week at QuickBooks Connect, but we're going to give it a few minutes for people to join and get through the usual initial banter. I like that word, banter. It sounds better when British people say it, though.
Oh, did you see Clayton?
Of course I did. You didn't see the pictures I posted? He gave me Vegemite.
Oh, get out.
I have it here.
Oh, Vegemite.
Now, of course, this has not been touched, but the Tim Tam he gave me is gone, long gone.
What are we talking about? What is in the tube?
It's Vegemite. It's about the nastiest tasting stuff you could possibly ingest.
Yeah.
It's B vitamins for vitality.
It's good for you?
Very good for you. Vitality starts with breakfast. B1 essential for brain function. B2 supports your nervous system. B3 essential for energy release. Folate helps to fight fatigue. Enjoy as part of a balanced, varied diet and active lifestyle.
Did you say fatigue?
Yeah.
What did you squirt it in your mouth?
I don't know. You don't remember from like years back when we were kids, the song from Men at Work saying he just smiled and gave me a Vegemite sandwich?
Yeah.
The lyrics from Men at Work. This is what he was talking about.
Well, I'm the queen of the nappers, so I need some fatigue busting stuff. So.
You won't be able to. You'll have to like bury this in, I don't know, like cookie dough or something. It'll taste awful. Which would probably defeat the purpose of using it in the first place. But yeah, Clayton Oates is my buddy. I say that he's my brother from another mother in another country.
He's a blast.
He'll be back for Sleater too. He was almost going to stay in between QuickBooks Connect and Sleater, he told me, but he didn't want to be away from his family and kids for that long.
Yeah. We thought about that too, but there's too much room in between. And if I can get this huge audit moved next year, then maybe I can be free. Pulling all-nighters at this point.
Yeah. So Joel, what's going on with you? What's going on in your world?
Oh, I'm working. Well, actually, I'm off today, which is why I've got the time to sit in and watch. But I saw your posts all week long, and you got me excited.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, usually if I was at work, it'd be a different background, but my home office is just not quite glamorous.
Who was it, Tim, that he did one hangout and he had the vacuum cleaner behind him? That was great. I'm like, where are you? But we have people join from their cars. You never know where people are. Last week, Larry looked like he was outside in the dark at a campfire or something. That was on Gina's hangout.
I'm glad I'm wearing a clean shirt.
I'm going to start individually inviting people who are normally with us.
Yeah, I had to really hunt for the invite again.
Dennis, here comes Dennis back.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get Gina.
Where'd you go, Dennis? He's not hearing us. Or something.
No, he's not. I think Dennis is having technical difficulties this morning.
Yeah. We only see half of him anyway.
You know, I just realized
What?
I'm not talking to you in my usual way through my real mic.
This guy?
I was wondering. I was like, why isn't my mic's light on?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get some tea in here.
Is it muted? Yeah, see, I can never tell if it's muted. This mic really does catch clients' eyes, though. It's like so huge. It's like, wow. Like, yeah.
My mouse always slows down when the Hangout's running. It just uses so much bandwidth.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we've got a few more people
Did you see
invited.
the message from Billy Ann?
What did she say?
Dude, I can't even get organized enough to get out of my PJs for these.
All right, Eric's coming back. There he is. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning.
There's Eric.
Still booting.
Dennis, can you hear us? Oh, Dennis.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
All right, there's a Randy. Welcome, Randy.
Good morning, Randy.
Google Hangout.
How's everybody today?
Good, how are you?
Haven't been on for a while.
I know, I was going to say it's been a while.
Yeah.
Did you, I didn't see you at QuickBooks Connect.
I wasn't at QuickBooks Connect, so I'm interested to hear how your experiences were.
You know, it's funny because there were so many people there that it's entirely possible we both could have been there and not seen one another.
Yeah.
It was pretty big. So we'll start getting into things in a minute.
I bet
just
it was a big event.
for people to join, because as is often the case with Google Hangouts, people have trouble finding it. That's really funny what they do.
Anywhere except for the one you posted in the comments, Seth.
It should. Everybody should get a notification because I have you guys in a circle, which very specifically.
We get the notification, but when you get to the Google Plus page, there's no place to actually log into it. I had to click that link you posted in comments.
No, I'm saying you should get a notification with a specific button that says Join Hangout, not just to go to the event page.
It doesn't work. I tried all three of them. I got 3 different notifications.
So it says Join Hangout and it still doesn't work?
It says...
You'll get the notifications about the event that it creates. And then also, when in doubt, I always tell people if they go to the schoolofbookkeeping.com page, not the event itself, but our actual page, there you should see a post, that lets you know the Hangout has gone live with the Join Hangout button. So that's the other place to go to actually join the Hangout. If you want to watch, you can simply watch it from the event page by clicking play. And as far as that goes, it will pop out an enlarged window and it'll fill up your whole screen, and at the top right of that you'll see an arrow you can click on which will pop it out in a separate window so that you can watch on one screen and then post comments and things in the event itself. So I know people have been confused about that too.
I think there's something else with it. There's something with the Google Plus setup that doesn't...
Sometimes people get right in and it's seamless, and sometimes it just doesn't seem to work.
Yeah. I tried it.
Because I do the same process every time.
So now if I go to the school bookkeeping page, whatever this is, now I see my...
You see a Join Hangout post, right?
Right.
Now, sometimes you'll have to refresh your page in order to see that, because once we go live, Google Plus will take a few minutes to update.
That's what it's doing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I have a new now I just got a new one. Oh, here's the stuff from Billy. There's like a lag or something.
No, there's definitely a lag, but you can often get around that by refreshing.
Yeah. That's what I did. I refreshed and there she is. So,
Ooh, and it looks like
it's a long way to Georgia.
Let me send Chris Palumbo an invite.
He's sleeping.
No, he just responded. He's going to watch.
Oh, good.
So let's let him do more than watch. Let's have him join.
Hey, Seth, can you post on the School of Bookkeeping page again as a new comment, the link? That seems to be the easiest way. Maybe on the YouTube page, because everybody's going different.
The event itself as a comment. So here, I'll do it there because that's probably where most people are.
Ooh, and it looks like it's a long way to Georgia.
Let me send Chris Palumbo an invite.
Somebody's replaying the Hangout right now.
No, he just responded. He's going to watch.
If you're in the live panel, make sure you're not playing us.
More than watch. Let's have him join.
Hey Seth, can you post on the school bookkeeping page again as a? Sorry, I was posting. Anybody know how to get to YouTube without autoplay?
Well, if you just go to the YouTube channel directly, and then in the drop-down where you're choosing what you're looking at, you can choose live events, and you'll find this video there. And then just sometimes you have to really quickly hit pause when you go there. And then I'll post it in the Facebook group too. That's the other problem. Then when you have all these windows open and you're on the Hangout, it eats up your bandwidth. I want to switch my microphone. No, it's got my microphone now.
I needed to sneeze and I turned off my camera, not my microphone. I think I talked myself out of it.
Dennis, we can see you.
Can you hear me?
Oh, now we can.
Yeah, I'm on my cell phone and I'm having all sorts of trouble with my computer this morning.
No.
It works pretty well on your phone. You look good.
Yeah. Actually, I'm seriously thinking of getting a Chromebook just for the Hangouts. I mean, these damn Windows computers are just...
You definitely want to put your phone down, though. Holding it, it's making you bounce a little.
It's bouncing Dennis.
Dennis is twerking.
Yeah. I would throw my back if I tried to work. I'd be in physical decrepitude is all the better thing you can.
All right, I'm going to post one more invite directly in the Facebook group, and then we're going to get started. Because we're almost 15 minutes in, and I'm going to want to cut out the whole first 15 minutes of this video afterwards. It's amazing. It takes 15 minutes to get it going.
Where'd you get that hat?
Well, we just have to get in the habit of coming in at quarter of.
Yeah. That's why I usually start at 10. I was about 5 minutes late today.
That's okay. I'm clearing the email. Staying busy.
I'm still asleep. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, it's 11 o'clock here. I have no excuse.
I don't know why we do this at 8 a.m.
I'll tell you exactly why.
Because you're up at 4:30.
Not only that, but when I started this several years ago, I wanted to get it done before sort of my billable day started, which was at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I don't have a billable day on Friday anymore, so it doesn't matter, but I don't want to change the time because this is what people are used to now.
Mm-hmm. Works for me.
Recording cam that you're using right now, Seth, or are you using a different one?
What?
Are you using your regular recording cam?
Yeah, why?
Does he look pixelated to anybody else? Is it just
Oh
me?
yeah. He's a fuzzy wuzzy.
Sarah looks awesome.
That's a cheap little camera too.
Both her being and on camera, but I'm saying, Seth, there's something fuzzy going on with you.
He's
Probably
always,
because I'm using too much bandwidth right now.
I think it is. I think it's just it's a Q. We should have called this QB Connect Hangover.
and I want to ship you a painting or something. I always want to put something in that blank spot.
Which blank spot? Oh, in the wall behind me?
On the wall, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to come decorate.
I have the perfect picture for you for that, Seth. How do I share a picture?
Just pull it up on your screen and then share your screen.
That's what I'm going to do.
right, is this any better?
It's fine to me.
Larry wants to know where
Yeah.
to get the T-shirt.
On mine, I actually get a very clear image of myself. That's weird. All right. Anyway, let's talk about QuickBooks Connect. So actually, the only ones who are here now who are at QuickBooks Connect are Eric and myself. Isn't that right?
Well, I watched the stream. I watched most of the streaming of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was actually pretty good. They had both the morning and afternoon sessions on the 22nd. I got most of it.
I didn't know that. How did I not know that?
I didn't know it either. I just happened to check it out the night before the website, and then I saw this live stream. So then the next morning I tried it, and it worked.
Right. Jessica's joining us. We just met Jessica at QuickBooks Connect. Good morning. Welcome.
Hi, I'm looking a little rough this morning.
We all are. Okay. Not wearing any makeup.
I have it's like a QuickBooks Connect hangover I've got or something. I don't know.
It takes a while to shake off those conventions, doesn't it?
Well, no, the hangover part might be very literal considering what everybody was doing each night.
Well, and then the 3-hour time change coming home. I didn't go to bed till 2, so.
Nice. Nice. So Dennis, you watched the live streaming and you said it was pretty good. How much did they actually cover in the live streaming? Was it just the sessions, or did you get to see other things too?
It was the speakers. There was no breakout sessions. It was just the speakers.
Got
it. I liked that poet. He was pretty interesting. And then saw Brad Smith. And then some parts I missed. I spent 3.5 hours waiting for the IRS, trying to get on the IRS on Tuesday, and so part of it had to miss.
Hurry up and wait.
I missed most of what's that name? Ariana Huffington. I missed most of.
She was good.
The parts I heard I thought were pretty interesting, but
I actually missed hers too. We walked out during Martha Stewart. We were so bored with that one.
I missed that one too. Or I kind of cut that one out. It seemed kind of lacked energy.
So now Siku, the poet, I actually got great video of him. Last night I was up late kind of reviewing all the video I had shot with my Canon Vixia, and I got some great, I got a great segment of the poet, and I still have a lot to go through. As you might have seen if you watched the trailer for today, I put together a very quick blurb of literally when I had just walked in, and Eric's got his green bag behind him, I noticed, of the goodies that they gave us. And in that short trailer, I went through, I took everything out of the bag to see what was in there. I had never heard of a Cliff Bar before. Apparently, I'm in the dark.
Really?
That's because they come from Santa Barbara, Seth.
So,
I'm a runner, and I love Cliff.
My husband buys them by the case.
Yeah.
He's a cyclist, yeah.
The blueberry ones are the best.
blueberry, okay?
Love them.
I like to talk with you.
And the Luna bars are fantastic, too.
Yeah, that's the other one, yeah.
Luna bars are for women only, though. That's the problem. It's a true story. They are. They're designed for women.
Well, the chocolate coconut's awesome.
I have to tell my husband. I need some stamina to get through all this accounting.
Gotcha. So we got...
I was going to say, it looked like that poet was actually sitting in the audience, just like, hug everybody, and all of a sudden this guy just starts speaking.
Yeah. All right, somebody's producing some feedback here.
Yeah.
People, when you come in, just please make sure you're muted. We're getting some new visitors in here who we've never had before. I don't know if you've been on Hangouts before, but either way, please make sure that you mute yourself. Otherwise, I may have to go in here and mute you for you. I do have the ability to do that.
You need to mute him. I think.
There.
Okay.
It's gone.
There.
All right, perfect. Usually people come in muted. And
all of these need to respond if they're going to participate or not.
it's weird. I think we're good, though. All right, cool.
Okay.
I love this control panel that they give me as the host.
All right.
I can actually turn people's cameras on. I did that to Yvette once by accident.
Yeah. Hey, Bill.
On.
Billy's listening.
What?
I said if Billy's listening, she said she never wants to be on camera.
Yeah. Which is pretty funny. So, we got in there, and I guess it was kind of overwhelming. There were so many people there in terms of, and I got to say, besides the content itself, for me anyway, the most exciting part was really getting to see all the people and getting to meet new people. And the whole networking part of it, I think, is probably that was the best part for me, honestly. A lot of the breakout sessions, well, in my case, frankly, I felt like I could have taught them myself, but I realized not everybody is there. But the point is, for me, the biggest benefit, the biggest takeaway I had was getting to meet some amazing people. T-Sheets, Matt Rissell was so generous the first 2 nights that I was there with the parties that he threw and picking up the tab for everyone. And what he did, talk about connecting, as far as I'm concerned, he single-handedly fulfilled the very specific purpose of the whole event. He helped people connect. He brought people together with what he did. I mean, QuickBooks brought all of us together, of course. Intuit brought all of us together. And then within that framework, what Matt did was great. A lot of people having a lot of fun. Eric and I were discussing this yesterday. At one point, they had in the Fairmont Hotel, they had the pianos, 2 pianos head-to-head. And I challenged Eric to walk up the coolest thing, the guy had sheet music on his iPad. I'd never seen that before, and of course it makes sense. And I dared Eric to go up and finger swipe the page just to mess with him.
Yeah, we do that. We do that in our band.
But and then of course the content itself. I mean, the poet was amazing. I was watching the video that I took of him last night, and he was so good. It was just everything, as far as I'm concerned, was done just top notch. Everything was first class all the way through, the way they did it. What do you think, Eric?
I absolutely agree. I have been to many. Am I on? I have been to many conferences over my career in different companies, mostly tech related, and several of them actually in that same venue in San Jose and what have you. And, there's some great ones. I mean, I will tell you, the greatest thing I've ever done at an event is human foosball. I think that should be at every event going forward. You're literally strapped into a position in a giant foosball table surrounded by an inflatable wall, and you have to kick a ball into a goal, but you can only go so far. That to me, would have made this perfection. But then again, Mom always said, if you're perfect, you're not human. So anyhow, it was by far one of the greatest conferences I've been to in terms of the ability to actually meet and greet people. It was wonderful. I really think they did a great job. As far as the breakout sessions go, I can't speak to that because I wasn't there for that purpose. But absolutely, without question, loved every moment of it. And I also want to say one more thing in addition to what Seth said. The T-Sheet group, along with Intuit, the rest of the sponsors were just awesome. I mean, it was just a lot of fun. So,
yeah, I mean, in
particular,
I think as schoolofbookkeeping.com members, we were really looking to talk to the vendors a lot, and we had a great time. I mean, we spent time, I think, well, of course, with T-Sheets, and then with Ben and John from SalesPad. My friends at Tally had reached out to me because a while back on the QB show, I had done a demo, and their Twitter person reached out to me and said she really liked my demo, and so when we got here, they made a point of reaching out and saying, hey, please come, we'd like to talk to you. So I had a lot of fun meeting with them and lots of the other vendors. Of course, Bill Quick was there, and a lot of people know I work with Bill Quick. They did a great little promotion where if you wore one of their shirts, and you had to tell them what your main reason was for being there, what you were hoping to get out of it, you wrote that down on the back of your shirt, and I was helping them give out $50 bills to anybody who was wearing the shirt. So that was a great thing. It was just a lot of fun. And a lot of us did some fun stuff with it, as you probably have seen by now from the pictures. Eric and Chris and I with our T-shirts. There's the Bill Quick shirt. Let's see it. Let me click on you, Eric, so we can see it. So, Eric, what was your reason? It's hard to make out. I'm here to find Seth David. There it is.
Which let me tell you, not being Seth David is a difficult thing to find Seth David.
Which vendor had that shirt?
That's
That was
Bill Quick, QE Software.
Real quick.
Yeah, where's the Bill Quick on the shirt? Because all I see is the.
It's on the other side. Oh, it was here. Hold on.
Okay.
See it now?
Yeah, yeah.
I have a question. They kept referring to the kitchen table. Do they have something set up outside? Like they're talking about Main Street. I mean, was it set up outside?
No, that was basically the main lobby was Main Street, where they had some of their premium sponsors with larger booths, and there were some pretty clever booths. And then inside the exhibit hall itself was a great cafe, a great sitting area. There's
Which vendor had
all of the different booths and brains. It was quite a setup. It really was, and it was easy to navigate and very, very relaxing to get to and from. You know, not that typical stress that you have with a conference where you have to traverse so much territory to get from point A to point B. Very well done.
Yep. And you know what? There was so much to learn, my brain actually fell out.
Well, did they talk about the new? What was the new QBO? I mean, that was kind of confusing me.
So the big announcement, and I think this is where people are still not really that clear. The big announcement was mainly around the new QBO-A and some changes they're making there. Now, a lot of the people who saw it, I think, felt that it looked as though, on the surface, that there was nothing really new, that they were just taking what was already there and centralizing it a little better, but that's not really true. They have added a bunch of new features. Your QB ProAdvisor portal is going to be shown right there in your QuickBooks Online Accountant portal. Your there's going to be a drop-down menu of a lot of the things that you want to be able to do, like the batch reclass. All the stuff that we like in the accountant's version of the desktop edition is now being brought into QBO. What they didn't actually tell you in the announcement, because they can only tell you so much, is that coming probably around December, based on when I spoke with Jim McGinnis, we're going to have inventory in QuickBooks Online, which is exciting. There's going to be a lot of new features that they're adding on. In fact, one of the cool things was that I got invited into a press conference that they held with Dan Wernikoff, who's the general manager at Intuit, and Brad Smith himself, the CEO, and they also had a guy from Box, and I'm not sure if the guy they had there was the CEO. I think he might have been. To be honest, I missed his name. When they started, I was distracted, but they're integrating Box, which is, if you don't know what Box is, it's kind of like Dropbox, or it's a file sharing application, and they're integrating that tool with QBO and QBO-A, so that they're also going to be adding in kind of a portal where you can communicate with your clients and say, hey, I need these documents from you, I need your bank statements, whatever it is, and they can drop it in and it'll all set up through Box.
Now, is that going to
Hang on, we're getting a lot of feedback from somebody. Everybody can just mute if you're not talking. If you're not talking, mute.
It's Steve, you've got some feedback. You got a TV on or something?
No, let me mute myself.
You have the Hangout playing behind you.
Yeah, it's you're on it and you're playing it at the same time.
Sorry.
Okay, perfect.
I was going to say on the QBO, that's if you were to click it, log on now, you wouldn't see those changes. Is it just going to like?
No, they're not going to. Jim told me you're not going to start seeing the changes till around December.
And they won't give them to everybody right away. I don't understand that.
They roll it out because of server hits.
They do that for a number of reasons. Server hits also, if they discover bugs, they don't want to roll it out to millions of people and all of a sudden everybody,
Right.
So this can be tested out little by little. Even Google does that when they roll out new features on something. So that's the reason.
What was the thing with Bill.com? It sounded like you could get a free company.
Bill.com is now going to be, you're going to get like a free Bill.com account with your QBO-A portal. Keep in mind, there's going to be a point at which there's going to be a cost. Like I asked Jim with Box, I said, am I just going to get free unlimited storage? And he says, no, they're going to give you a very generous amount of storage included, but at a certain point, if you need more storage, that's going to come at a cost. So, but they're announcing some really interesting strategic partnerships. And it's very, very clear. I mean, it's been clear for a long time already, but it's becoming more and more clear how much Intuit is investing into the QuickBooks Online infrastructure. And what they didn't make that clear to me, at least, but when I spoke with Jim after the press conference, I kind of tagged him on the way out, and I started grilling him with questions. And I felt like a reporter, which I guess is why they pulled us in there. They had like reporters in there and stuff. But I started grilling him with questions, and they're bringing out inventory for QuickBooks Online. That's something all of us have been waiting for. Yes, there's very light inventory now, but even as we discovered, if you were sitting in on the QuickBooks Online Advanced Certification training that Michelle Long did, the inventory infrastructure in the existing QuickBooks Online is very limited. I mean, to make an adjustment, you have to go in and edit a single item and change its quantity or price right there. So you can only adjust one item at a time. Imagine if you have 100 items of inventory in your inventory list. It's just very impractical to make those kinds of changes. So that's all going to get better, and I think it's going to keep getting better and better. And they even said this is just the beginning. They're just scratching the surface. So there's going to be a lot more, I think, over the next year even that's going to come out and get announced, and I think it's very exciting. I mean, I know Eric has really fallen in love with the QuickBooks Online platform as a user, right, Eric?
This is a true statement. I've been using Intuit products since DOS, and mostly as an end user. As you know, I'm not an accountant, but I've been running businesses for many years. And as a user running 5 companies right now, I have 4 different accounting platforms, desktop, some names I won't mention, and QBO. And by far, QBO has been the most useful, I would say, in terms of running my businesses and being able to access that data from anywhere. I mean, it's wonderful to sit in a hotel room and be able to deal with bookkeeping. It's awesome.
Right. And I see, Eric, I see Yugi walking around behind you in the background. What does he think of QBO?
You know what? He's licking parts of his body I don't want to discuss right now. So, I'm really not fond of him right now. I think you read my Facebook post a few days back. Anyhow, he's very excited about QBO as well. Hey, Seth, didn't I see something about payroll as well?
Yes, they're going to have an integrated payroll solution. But not that they don't have 10 payroll solutions already, but they're going to have a full-service payroll, completely scaled within QuickBooks Online.
Oh, good. And will they give us our payroll item codes back and things like that?
I don't know that for sure. I mean,
that's what's lacking from all these little.
The other interesting thing I found out was that because now if you try and migrate a QuickBooks file that's got inventory into QuickBooks Online, you have problems. But once the inventory is rolled out, they claim, if I heard correctly, and everything I have to qualify by saying if I heard correctly, I'm assuming I did, but their claim was that the migration from desktop to QBO for a company file that's got inventory will be seamless.
Seth, did you get a sense of what's in the advanced QBO certification?
I sat in on the whole session. I mean, honestly, a lot of it was, the actual exam I haven't seen yet. I've got you had to get certain keywords to get access, so I've got my access lined up. I went in, and there were some people I saw commenting in the QuickBooks Connect app that they seemed to think that you had to enter them by midnight on a certain day. Not true. I went in last night and I entered the keywords and I got my access. I got my email back this morning with all the information I need to access the exam. I haven't looked at the exam yet, Dennis, but apparently it's going to be very similar in form to the advanced certification for desktop, where you're going to have, it's not going to be multiple choice. You're going to have like scenarios, and you're going to have to respond, I guess. And so it is a comprehensive exam. But based on what I watched when Michelle went through everything, at least for me, and I'm speaking as somebody who uses QuickBooks Online quite a bit with clients, so I'm pretty familiar with it. There was nothing in there that she went over that I didn't feel like I already knew. I mean, there were definitely some tips in there that I picked up that I was like, oh wow, that's cool. I didn't fully realize that. So don't get me wrong, I did get some things out of Michelle's session, but for the most part, if you know QuickBooks Online really well, I don't think you should have a problem passing the advanced certification exam.
I agree.
I know on the advanced desktop, it seemed like there was more emphasis on accounting knowledge.
I was about to ask that. Isn't it more than just how to use the software?
the one thing that I'm curious about actually is towards the end, she spent a fair amount of time on ratio analysis, and I didn't see where that fits into the scheme of what's in QuickBooks Online. So it might be that, because here's the deal, and here's where that actually, now that you asked that, it kind of just clicked in my mind. It makes sense because the whole idea of using a product like QuickBooks Online, where a lot of the bank fees and everything is very much automated, the whole idea is as the accountant, we're supposed to be able to now, instead of doing bookkeeping, use the information that's provided through QuickBooks Online to do more analytical type work. So now that you asked that question, it makes sense to me that maybe the whole ratio analysis segment that you went over was because this is the kind of stuff we're supposed to start learning how to do with the information. Now that QBO is already doing a lot of it's removing the need for a lot of the data entry. So presumably we have more time to do that kind of stuff now.
I would think more like stuff like cash flow, maybe break even and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That kind of
Well,
Not
I'm
quite
looking.
that detailed, but it was like quick ratio type stuff.
I was looking at the supplementary guides, and that whole module is on ratios, the 5th one that they test you on.
But I don't see anything in the product itself that really seems to speak so specifically to ratio analysis. But I guess, again, I think the point is that because of what QuickBooks Online presumably does for us, the idea is now we should be able to spend more time doing that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's a higher level. I mean, it's not just knowing software, it's your knowledge as an accountant.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And, again, the idea is now that QuickBooks Online can do most of the bookkeeping work for you. I mean, the bank feeds are coming in, the credit card feeds are coming in. There's not nearly as much data entry to do. The idea is now that you have this information at your disposal, what are you going to do with it? As the accountant, we should be able to analyze it using ratio analysis and then explain that stuff to our clients and what it means about their business.
Mm-hmm. Now,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
Quickly, Seth, a couple weeks ago you were having trouble finding some reports that you were used to in desktop.
No, in Zero. In Zero, I was trying to find some reports and I was having trouble.
Okay.
And I did find them eventually, but they weren't like where I would have expected to find them. And that was a whole different, and I don't want to go down that path in today's Hangout. That's really a whole separate topic. But just very quickly, I was working with a client on October 15th, literally, trying to get him situated so he could go file his taxes by midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And we're having a lot of trouble. Imagine. We're having a lot of trouble, though, just kind of trying to find things and clean them up and reclassify them. Eventually, I figured out there is actually an expenses by vendor report, but it was in a section called performance reports, which is not where I was looking. I was thinking it would be in a transaction detail report, and it wasn't there. So anyway, I was a little, frankly, disappointed with Zero in that regard because I was having, everything up to that point works great in Zero. I'll be honest, I like the interface. I think it's nice. But when it came down to the accountant's part, where we're trying to clean it up and reclassify, I found it wanting, if you know what I mean.
Well, is there a complaint about how the general ledger prints out of QBO? What's that about?
I'm not sure. I mean, in my experience,
it was a long time ago, but a lot of people complain that there wasn't a normal general ledger beginning balance, activity, ending balance.
I honestly don't know. I know that in general with QuickBooks Desktop and probably QuickBooks Online too, although I can't specifically remember, like QuickBooks Desktop, if I run a transaction detail report based on the balance sheet, I don't necessarily get the beginning balances leading in.
Not on a transaction report, but a general ledger report is built specifically beginning balance, current activity, ending balance.
No, but what I'm saying is what I've found in the desktop version is that if I run the balance sheet and then click in, then I do get those beginning balances in the report. So in other words, if you start from a raw report template and try and create it from scratch, you may not get those beginning balances the way you should or expect to.
But does QBO, well, you have to go to account, go get a general ledger report. But what is that report not in QBO?
No, of course. You know what? I'm going to pull up. Let's do a screen share. I'm going to pull it up
that's
right
the first thing the auditors ask for is a trial balance and their detailed general ledger.
No, I'm sure you can. You know what? Let's not speculate. Let me actually go in and, the great thing about QuickBooks Online is they have that sample file that everyone can go in and play with.
That's nice.
So I'm going to pull it up.
That would be a deal breaker for me and with some of the other deal breakers, but well, Eric, you've been around since DOS, and so have I. I mean, it was sort of crappy when it came out in the 80s. So we've watched it grow up, and I'm sure with QBO it's going to be a much faster process because this technology is going.
I think the one thing we have to recognize, Sarah, honestly, is that QBO is here to stay.
Yeah.
And Intuit is putting all their muscle behind it, and I think
it's gonna only get better.
The conference was everybody needs to just work with us and see the future and recognize that this is the change that we have to embrace because it's just going to get better and better and better until everybody eventually.
Yeah, I see that they'll eventually
want to choose.
Yeah, they'll either just.
You can kind of see that right now with the limited improvements in the desktop for Premiere and.
Well, Pro and Premiere. I really see Pro and Premiere either being sold off or dropped eventually, but.
Well, I think we got a good 10 years left before they completely phase those out. You know, before I get into this, though, Jessica, you're here with us for the first time. I'd like to hear from you about this. What's your experience with QBO? Are you using it? Do you like it? You know, what do you think?
I love QBO. I actually, so I'm on the board of Dress for Success Palm Beaches. I'm the treasurer on our board, and I actually converted us over from desktop to online because I was tired of not having access remotely.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had it on one computer in one office, and I was tired of running back and forth, and I sold the idea onto the CFO, or our CEO, saying we need to get this online, and we've loved it. I love online. I was actually a little put off by a lot of the people at the conference that were so resistant to it, and I get it. Like, they've been using desktop for years, and so that's what they're comfortable with. But I'm all about embracing the change, and I'm really excited that QuickBooks and Intuit is really putting a lot of investment dollars into the online.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel
is it a reluctance to change, or that we're still waiting for the features that we have to have before we can jump?
I think both.
I think both. Yep.
I think it's both.
I think some people have so much invested in their knowledge and their skill, and all of a sudden.
Right.
Well, and it's like Dave Sleeter says this all the time, that we're so used to QuickBooks Desktop. We know it so well that now we have to learn something new, and that means a learning curve, and that means we don't get to be as cool as we can be with Desktop, where we can get on and say, oh, look at this, look how easy this is to do, and you can trick it and make it do this, and $0 checks, and, you know, so it's just, I think it's inertia and looking for the features.
Yeah.
And I want to add that the fact that Dennis Thompson is on this Google Hangout on his cell phone is evidence to the fact, I mean this in the nicest way, is evidence to the fact that things just keep getting better from a mobile and remote perspective, to the point where we're going to adopt it. We're going to be forced to at some point. And like Seth said, it's going to be 10 years possibly before the desktop products are gone. But my guess is over the course of the next 2 years, the move, it's going to be a huge wave. The percentage of people that are going to move to QBO and sign up for QBO, I mean, they have 700,000 businesses on it already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And what they showed us in the VIP sessions this year at QuickBooks Connect is that if the number of new users who are new to QuickBooks in the first place altogether is in other words, new users, if I've never used any accounting software before and I'm going in, there's more of those new users choosing QuickBooks Online versus desktop. There are still many more overall users in desktop versus QuickBooks Online. If I remember correctly, I think the statistic was that overall only 15% of users are using QuickBooks Online versus 85% in desktop. But when you look just at new users, the number of new users going directly into QuickBooks Online is much greater, and it's increasing as time goes on. It's increasing exponentially.
And here's a very interesting observation from a business owner perspective. In my last company, we had, I think at our peak, about 85 employees. And we ran QuickBooks Enterprise, and we were kind of at the top level of being able to continue. We were looking at a more robust solution, although QuickBooks kept surprising us with more and more features for more and more of what we needed. But when that whole thing kind of ended and I went off and started something new, I reached out to my former CTO and I asked him. I said, what do I use? You know, that's easy to get set up for my new business. And he recommended FreshBooks. And I launched FreshBooks, and I loved the integration and the ease of use. But then once I got to use it for a month, I realized, wow, this is just a simple invoicing platform. It has no features. So, of course, I have anyone else does, I moved to QBO. And when I moved to QBO, I started realizing, wow, this is QuickBooks for me. I can do this. And then I realized, wait a minute, I can't really do this. And that's when I hired somebody to help me with the bookkeeping. He's actually on this hangout here. Thanks, Seth, by the way. And so what's beautiful about the QBO thing that I think bookkeeping professionals and accounting professionals should recognize is that a lot of business owners are going to get into it on their own, thinking, you know, $24 a month, I can do my own bookkeeping, and they're going to get to a certain point where then they're going to need some help, and that's a wonderful thing. There's a huge pool of them out there waiting for you.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say the advantage is that you don't have the file hidden away on somebody's desktop at year end, and all of a sudden you have to screaming out of the closet where you can just kind of, you know,
invite your accountant, and up you go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I also did get the impression this week, by the way, that they are working towards, because one of the complaints people have about QuickBooks Online is I can't have incremental backups. I can't have a backup that says I want to go back to where it was at this day and time. And I got the impression from what they were saying, they didn't come out and say this specifically, but I got the impression that they are working towards giving you that ability. But they also made the point that QuickBooks Online is backed up. You know, so that they do backup on multiple redundant servers, so your data is never going to get lost.
No, but it's not because it might get lost. It's because maybe we screwed up. We need to back up to another.
Right. Time. No, and so they did give me the impression that they are working towards giving us the ability to do something like that at some point, where we can say, hey, you know what? I want to restore my QBO file back to where it was yesterday at 3 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the meantime, of course, they suggest using the audit. They have like an audit trail report or an audit log, I think it's called, in QuickBooks Online, where you can go and see what was done and potentially use that report to go off of to undo or fix whatever you may think may have been screwed up over the last day or whatever it was.
Is there no need to archive or worry about file size when you're on QBO?
There's no need to, because it's on the server side. It doesn't affect your hard drive at all.
It is an interesting question technically, though, and I do think I had a long conversation with Allison about this. I do think at some point, Seth, that they're probably going to give you an offline archive feature. That's one of the demands, and I think, you know, the people on this hangout who represent, you know, the population in your industry, you ask for it, and they're going to give it to you because they're listening. There's no question. This is a great company. I really enjoyed interacting with them, and they seem like they really want to deliver the greatest product on the planet, and they're throwing a ton of money and resources at it. That's for certain.
Yep. At one point, in Brad Smith's keynote, he mentioned that they last year spent like $300 million on development infrastructure. I mean, it's just mind-blowing the money they're spending on this. Jessica, I'm sorry, I think you got cut off. Were you going to say something?
The only thing I was going to say is I actually ran into one of the developers in the airport by chance when I was on my way home, and the one thing he was a little disappointed at was the short amount of time that they got to spend with ProAdvisors to get their feedback. So I did tell, you know, QB Connect in my survey, I said, I think you need to have more facilitated sessions between the developers and ProAdvisors, because he said, you know, they were able to tell them a lot of things, the ProAdvisors, but the developers didn't get enough time to ask the questions back to the ProAdvisors. So I think they need to do a better job of that next year, especially when you have all these people together.
You know, I'm so glad you brought that up and mentioned that, because Eric and I have been discussing almost constantly the last 2 days a concept that I think will solve that problem. I'm not going to.
Let's not discuss it openly just yet, though.
That's what I was just saying. I'm not going to get into any more detail than that. Eric and I have been talking about developing something that will solve that specific problem. Let's just leave it at that.
We need to do a better job of that.
We did that at Slater, where 5 of us were invited to a special. It was 5 programmers and 5 of us.
Yeah,
it was phenomenal, phenomenal, and they're taking notes like crazy. It's like,
yeah.
They
want to know what to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's take a quick look at the reports. I've got the sample file up. Let me go share my screen, and let's see if the concern that Sarah raised potentially regarding QBO. Let's see if it's a concern at all. So I'm going to share my screen.
Did they talk about the new reports that are coming in QBO?
Yeah, I saw that somewhere. That's why I was curious if maybe that was one of them or something.
So keep in mind when you first go to the reports, and I'm going to enlarge my zoom so you guys can see my screen a little better.
Thank you.
QuickBooks, oops, I enlarged the wrong zoom on the wrong screen. Let's do it here. So keep in mind when you first get here, it's going to take you to the recommended report. So if you're not aware of this little sort of these tabs across the top, I know a couple times I've gotten lost in this saying, where are all the damn reports, right? So
I mean, under all reports.
Where you are. You start off in the recommended reports tab. So if you go to all reports, because that's where you want to go if you just want to see everything, then go there. And then, of course, you can go in and go into, within a specific category. Okay? So now the thing is, and again, this is a perfect example of the learning curve. We're so used to desktop where we go reports, company and financial, and so on. They've got it organized a little differently here in terms of more broad stroke categories, which probably is more meant for the end user who doesn't know what's company and financial and what's a transaction detail versus us. So this may frustrate accounting professionals a little bit, but keep in mind we're not the only ones using this. That it's the business owners using this too, and they have to be given something that makes sense to them. So if we want, sometimes I'll go to I'll certainly save reports in my custom reports. But now we want to go into what we're talking about. We want to get a balance sheet or a GL detail, right?
I want a trial balance and a general ledger.
So we go to business overview, okay, and let's see what we've got here. I've got a profit and loss detail. Go away, Google Hangouts thing. There's the audit log, by the way, which you can use if you do want to figure out, how to fix something that went wrong and you're not sure. Okay, so there's no GL detail in here, so let's go back to all reports. And let's see where we might find something like that. Accountant reports.
Oh, there's accountants. There you go. There you go.
Let's go to general ledger, and let's see what we get.
Seth, can you lock your screen so we don't bounce back and forth?
You have to click on my thumbnail to lock it on your end. I have it locked on mine, which is for the sake of the recording. So here we go.
There's a standard general ledger. What is everybody complaining about?
Because they probably don't know that they have to find it in accountant reports first. That's why I made that point at the beginning, that you have to get used to the new layout. The problem that I think a lot of people have and why they experience so much inertia when it comes to moving from desktop to QBO is that they want it to be desktop, but that's the whole point, is it's not desktop.
It's not QuickBooks. I should have named it something else.
And they even admitted that.
And the other thing
in retrospect, they should have called it something else, but too late.
Beth, real quick, the other thing that you'll find, in a product like this, people are going to experience it like they do Facebook. It's going to change dynamically.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And they added the
reporting area to the Enterprise Solutions Desktop Edition. I'm sure we'll see more of that happening here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So here's your GL detail. Now I just ran it for this whole year. Now keep in mind, if you're running it as of a date range that includes everything, then there's no beginning balance to speak of. So that could be another reason. If I have a new company and this is the first year I'm using it and I run a general ledger detail, the beginning balance is 0. So you won't see a beginning balance. So notice what I did here. I changed this report date range to this year. Now there's no beginning balance because evidently this company started in May of 2014 with their opening balance equity deposit. And there's your first clue that this is where we start. So again, you have to kind of put your auditor hat on a little bit and think in terms of what clues can I look for that tell me why or why not I might see what I'm expecting to see.
And so there's no problem going out to Excel and things like that. So yeah,
very
normal.
easy.
Yeah.
In fact, over
I
here,
downloaded lots of things.
this button here that says Excel.
Because I know
That's
that I
very
like to do it with the groups and then collapse like accounts payable and all those other long accounts.
Yep. So you
Just
can certainly go to Excel, and then in your customized area here. Again, it's a little different than when I go to customize report in desktop. It's a whole different layout, but you have all the same stuff. So if I want to go to rows and columns, right? And I want to, let's say, total by customer. This may be the wrong report template to be working off of.
As long as
But
it's
there are
intuitive.
reports where I can total. What?
As long as it's intuitive, there shouldn't be any complaint.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty intuitive. You know, you just, like anything else, the first time you're looking at it, you have to go through your options and see, what does this do? What does that do? When I go to my lists here, right, I can say, you know, here I'm looking at the template off of a general ledger report, right? So it's showing all accounts. It's showing all distribution. One interesting thing I learned in Michelle's QBO Advanced session that I did not know was that, you know how in QuickBooks Desktop we like to use classes, right? And in the desktop you can run a balance sheet by class. That's been the case for a few years now. The balance sheet by class does not work as well in QuickBooks Online. If you want to run a balance sheet by class, you have to do it by location. So you have to use the locations in QBO instead of classes if you want a good balance sheet by that thing that you're using the classes to describe.
So are there 3 sorts? You've got account, class, and location. Do you have 3 ways to sort data? Because you don't in desktop.
Correct. You have, and you have another one. You have departments as well. So QBO gives you several different. Yeah.
So you got 3.
I thought department was class.
Is it?
I believe so. I don't know of a separate department outside. I thought class was synonymous.
Let's look at the. You may be right. You may
I'm
be
not
right.
sure though.
Here's classes. And here's locations. I think you're right.
Okay.
But that locations is nice to have though.
Yeah, and the locations again works better if you're trying to cut up the balance sheet by whatever you're describing here.
Jessica, when you converted your to QBO, I'm not quite sure how the pricing model goes and how that increased your user fees. Like currently, you can buy a copy of QuickBooks, put it on a machine, and you know, nurse it for 3 years. So now, who's paying what in order to get into the data?
So we had a single license, and it was about to sunset. Like we had to upgrade because we were 3 years out. We weren't getting any more support.
Right.
So I was able to get in on an introductory offer since we were new users. So I think I'm paying $20 something a month. But
Is that for how many users?
Well, that's the thing. Isn't it 5 users? I have 2 users on there, but you can add more.
So it's
as your client can have 2 accounting users that don't cost them anything extra, so they can add their CPA and their bookkeeper to it at no extra cost.
So I have me and I have our office manager that we hired this year, and I taught her how to use QuickBooks so that she could do most of the bookkeeping, which now takes us a lot less time with the great bank feeds that we're now using and taking advantage of. You know, I've streamlined a lot of things so that honestly at month end I'm just reviewing what transactions happened during the month, and then I'm PDFing the report. I'm actually PDFing the reports and sending them to the board members before our board meeting. So it's
nice.
All kinds of time. And like I said, you know, we used to have it on one desktop. So when our CEO would call up and she's like, "Well, I need reporting on this," and I'm like, "I can't go. I can't run to the office today." So that alone sold her on us getting the online when she kept getting frustrated that I wasn't gonna like drop everything and run over and get something. So she loves the flexibility, and you know, I am using the online payroll to pay our office manager because it's very simple. We don't have anything crazy complicated with her, and it was nice being at QB Connect and just actually running the payroll on my phone while I was in a session actually. So. I'm kind of a cloud evangelist, though. I love the cloud. So.
Now watch this. I want to show you something, Sarah. This is what I love about QBO because this is where I feel it does make it as easy as the desktop does to get in. If I'm reviewing and tweaking, so I have a miscellaneous category on the P&L here, right, for the sample file. So when I click on it, it's going to give me the detail, of course. But now I want to show you what I do when I review this stuff. Now this is simple because there's only 3 transactions, but just so you can get the point, if there was a long list and I really wanted to be able to review this, I go in here to customize, and then you see where it says rows and columns grouped by account? I group this by vendor and run that report.
Right. And
You would be total by. It would be called total by, and I would total by vendor or payee. So you have the same equivalence. The language changes a little bit, so that takes maybe a little getting used to. But
It's
the
a
point
couple
is,
more clicks. Yeah, I think it's just.
it's not even. I click customize, and I hit the drop down, and under group by, I change it to vendor. It's actually it's the exact same number of clicks, I think.
No, with desktop, it's right there at the top. You just.
They have a drop down at the top also. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's all doable.
But so you
how about the problem that I have with my nonprofits is I need to be able to also put a customer code on all my expenses.
So that would you would use classes for possibly, or you can.
I can use classes.
You can put a custom. Like, what are you talking about? Because I'm at.
You can assign a customer to a
funding sources
on a desktop. Here, I'll show you.
I have to track funding sources.
Right, I know. We do too. We have to for Dress for Success.
Right.
We do a lot of. Are you talking about categories like individual contribution versus?
No, I'm talking about running my grants. We pretend and use customer codes to run our grants. So
you use the customer list, right?
I can't use my classes because I need those for the function code for the tax return.
Sarah, you're using your customer job list then, aren't you?
Right.
So that's right here. Look at my screen.
That.
You have the same exact ability to assign an expense to a customer.
Okay.
Now, if you're using the lightest version of QBO, I think this may not be available. So you have to be using.
Oh, there's different versions? Okay.
Yeah. Because there's Essentials and then there's Plus or something like that. So you may need to be in QBO Plus in order to have this feature.
What's in the sample? Is this Plus or just Essentials?
Well, this sample file is the full, the highest version.
Monty. Okay.
So that's basically it. It's actually, we're out of time. It's just after 9 o'clock, unless anybody else has anything they want to share or add.
I would just tell everybody to sign up next year because it was well worth the cost.
Definitely, for QuickBooks Connect.
That's my plug.
Definitely can't beat that cost for what they gave us. I mean, there was food everywhere. If you watch now we're getting people joining us an hour late.
Yeah, lamb chops. Unbelievable.
It was amazing. It was everywhere. You couldn't go 2 feet without having, and they had bars. They had wet bars there at certain times. So for those who drink, that was fun, I suppose.
Yes.
Good morning, Kelsey.
Good morning. I like your hat.
Good morning, Penny. Penny is joining us for the first time ever, I think. Make sure you unmute if you're trying to talk.
No, I was here last week.
Okay. So anyway, we are about out of time, but it was great. And when we had Chris Repetto on here twice actually, he made it clear the amount they were charging, they're not making money on that. Yeah. I'm sure they're spending way more than what they brought in. That much was clear. The only reason they charged anything at all was because they wanted to make sure that those who did commit to coming would sort of take it seriously. If you spend $100, you're going to show up. You're not going to just pay and then not show up. So that was the point behind them, I think, charging anything for it at all. Because I've experienced that even with webinars. If I do a free webinar, hundreds of people will sign up and say I'm coming, and then nobody shows up, right? But if you charge 10 or 15 or 20 bucks even, all of a sudden those who RSVP do actually show up. And
they really went out of their way.
We are out of time.
Yeah.
What?
They really went out of their way to find some hotels and shuttle people back and forth that were more affordable than right there. So that was nice.
And you know what some people did that I didn't even think about, which was brilliant, is Airbnb. A bunch of people did Airbnb, which is you can rent a place for like a week. It's really cheap, and you get a fully furnished apartment basically for a fraction of what you'd pay for a hotel.
Yeah, I'm gonna let everybody learn the tricks this year and then.
Yeah. So it was definitely worth the $200. I think if you're a ProAdvisor, they gave it to you for $99. Something like that, so you got half off as a ProAdvisor. So definitely that. Now, of course, then you still have to, for those who are coming across the country like Sarah, you got to pay for the flight and the hotel and all that.
Yeah, but it offset. The total cost was about the cost I'd go to another conference in total dollars. So
I think a fraction even of what you'd pay at some of the other conferences.
No, total. I'm talking airfare, hotel, everything, because I had to pay a pretty big airfare flight.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Oh, that's right,
But
because
if
you
you're
came from
flying across
Florida.
the country to some of the other conferences, you would have that coupled with the full cost of some of the other. You know, so that's anyway.
If I could be gone long enough, I could do QB Connect, vacation in the middle, end with Sleater.
Yeah.
You really get a lot of bang for your buck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's true.
All right, I got to wrap up here, but it was great having you guys all here this morning. Please join us next week. I'm happy to do more follow-up if people have questions about what was gone over. They also, in that press conference that I was invited into, they gave me a media kit. So I'm going to go through that, and I'll be producing videos throughout the week to kind of show you, because that's what they want us to do, is kind of announce to the world in more detail some of these announcements that they're making. So I haven't had time to even go through it yet. I've just had a glance at what they're coming out with. There's a whole PowerPoint they gave us to go through, and so as you can imagine, I'm going to be producing a ton of content around this to let everyone know what's coming and hopefully get some idea of when. Like I said, Jim McGinnis gave me the impression that a lot of the new features in QBOA will be rolling out in December. So that's when we can look for it.
Good.
All right. I will see you all next week. I haven't heard from Gina, but I'm assuming she's doing her hangout this afternoon at 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I know.
All right.
You'll be there.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good weekend.